Meeting is being recorded.
All right. On that note, we'll get started. We'll go ahead and it is June 7th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're located in the City Hall Council Chambers of 101 South Main Street in Joshua. And we will get on to the quorum here. We do have a quorum, so called order, and now that we do have a quorum. And we'll move on to action letter B, Citizens Forum. Planning and Zoning Commission invites citizens to speak on any topic. However, unless the item is specifically noted on this agenda, the Planning and Zoning Commission is required under the Texas Open Meeting Act to limit its response to responding with a statement of specific factual information, reciting the city's existing policy, or directing the person making the inquiry to visit the city staff about the issue. No commission deliberation is permitted, and each person will have 3 minutes to speak. I don't have any cards or anybody signed up to speak tonight. Okay. Moving on, we'll go ahead and discuss, consider, and possible action on the meeting minutes, May 3rd, 2021 meeting. So that everybody have a chance to review the meeting minutes. Make a motion, we approve. Motion by Commissioner Moore, second by Fraser. Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous. Moving on to D, discuss on the plan development process in regards to subdivisions, with the most recent case being Joshua Highlands. And this over to Mr. Peacock.
Thanks, Brent. I wanted to come tonight to apologize to you guys. I believe that some of the information that I think the way that y'all got it over the Highlands, we failed to, I think, account for some of you guys that may not be real familiar with the plan development process and just what that means. Part of what happens here oftentimes, and with Joshua Highlands, the work on those projects starts months before y'all actually ever see it, especially on the plan development. Plan developments are set up and are allowable in Texas for development where the development is with code restrictions or other density requirements could be modified and or applied to the development as a whole rather than to each individual lots. So when you have say a 15-acre parcel that somebody wants to divide up, such as that one, you look at the entire development, not just one lot. So when you do a plan development, it opens the door for a few things. One of the things is that you talk about open spaces, you talk about park dedication, you talk about lot size, you talk about building materials. There's a lot of things that happened 2 years ago in the legislative session that restricted what local governments can require of building materials. One of the things a plan development does is it allows us to say 80% brick or 90% brick, so that we don't have barnuminiums popping up in the middle of neighborhoods, which is exactly what happened. And so now they're going back and forth trying to fix what they messed up. And so you put these restrictions in place so that the developers know that a certain percentage of the home has to be, so you can get them to commit to so many square feet. You can get them to commit to putting granite in the houses versus laminate or tile. There's a lot of different things you can do if you're concerned about property values. And one of the biggest things that we get asked for are some concessions on lot size. Our requirements for minimum residential lot is 10,000 square feet. That's a pretty big mark. That ordinance has been in place, or that particular square foot requirement has been in place for more than 12 years. And since that was put into ordinance, not one single development in this city in the last 12 years has 10,000 square foot lots. Joshua Meadows would be the exception, but Joshua Meadows was platted years before that. Arguably, the Highlands project is the best fit that has been proposed to the city in years, because most of the lots exceed 9,000 square feet. There's open space, and one of the things that probably we failed to mention to you, they're going to have to bring water in from the other side of the city. which is going to bring a major water line into the old part of the city. And it's going to boost water pressures and fire suppression pressures over all of the older part of town, this area included. And that's at a pretty great expense to that developer. And those are all things that we look at and consider. And I think where we went wrong was we probably did not recognize that we probably needed to explain. I know there's some new faces on the board. I don't think we did a very good job of explaining what plan development was and how it works. It's a give and take. We get a little bit less lot size, we get more open space. I think there's 3 acres in this, or we get a little bit wider streets, or maybe it's a wider sidewalk, maybe it's a bigger house. There's a number of things that we can work through and do. And it's a give and take. We don't come off of that until they offer us something up, and it's kind of a negotiation and a bargain. You can certainly ask for them to look at some things. You actually did. You sent it back to them the first time. They did some adjustments. They made some lots bigger. They actually got closer to what we're looking for. Great job. But I think even though y'all's recommendation to the council was to deny it, they opted to approve it despite that recommendation, largely based on the fact that I think that we all recognize that we did not provide enough information. That said, we're going to fix that. I'm working on bringing somebody in for you guys that's going to talk about planning and zoning. And we could have a planning board, we could have a zoning board. We chose to do both, or all into one. But I think we just need to kind of get out there exactly what it is you guys can do, and some of the things, especially when it comes to 380 agreements, or if they're economic development agreements, or if it's a plan development like this. There's some things in there that bring a different set of guidelines to the table, and I think we need to make sure you guys have that information going forward. Council's decision was certainly not a slap in the face to you guys. It's not the first time that they have chosen a decision outside of what the recommending board was, so there's no precedent set here. They certainly appreciate all the work that y'all put into it, and the fact that you got them to increase the lot size. So it worked out good on both sides. But I wanted to come in here tonight to tell you that and make sure that, and I asked the mayor to come too, to make sure that y'all understand that it's not because they didn't think you did your job or y'all did anything wrong. It was just, it was a good fit. It solves a lot of problems, and I think we did get you all the information y'all to make, to give you some other options to consider. That said, I'm happy to take any questions if y'all have about them, or the mayor if y'all have some questions for him. And not, then we'll put this to bed and we'll be done.
One thing, Phil, I mentioned we had the advantage of having our legal representation there, which typically we don't bring to PNC just due to a cost factor. And we'll probably look at that in the future if some things come up. But our legal representative brought up some things in closed session that made it pretty apparent that, you know, you need to work with these folks because there's other things that can be done that maybe something comes in there that we don't want to go in there. And, you know, the owner of the land definitely had the prerogative to change to that. And so with us having that information, that helped us, you know, decide which way we wanted to go. So again, that was something that we had that you guys didn't have. And we're going to work to see if maybe we can, you know, maybe possibly have somebody on call if we need to, if we think, so that they can give you some legal advice so that you are aware that if you do turn down something, sometimes, not all the time, but there could be some legal ramifications of turning something down. And so we want to make sure that y'all are hearing all of that information. As Mike said, we really appreciate what you guys do. We do take it into consideration. I sat right where Brent was for about 3 years before I became mayor. And I had a couple of issues that we voted 7-0 against, and the council voted 7-0 for, but when they explained their reasons, they came back and let us know that it made all the sense in the world. It was just, we didn't have everything that we needed at that particular time. If any of y'all have any questions now, or even in the future, you want to discuss anything, we can get Mike on, give me a call. Be glad to discuss it with you.
I think my biggest apprehension, or not apprehension, but question would be if we're okay with these minimum lot sizes being this, why don't we change that from a planning and zoning standpoint? I think that would make things.
The big deal is there is 10,000 square foot is if a developer wants to come in and he says, hey, I'm not doing anything special. I'm going to do a 10,000 square foot lot, an 1,800 square foot house, and I'm going to do what the state says I can do. And we have no input at all. That's when they can come in and build the barn dominium. So the 10,000 square foot lot is sort of our threshold that if you don't want to come in and deal with us, that's what you've got to do. However, if you want to come in and negotiate some things, well, as Mike said, then we can start saying, okay, we want 80% brick. We want to see some amenities. We want to add an extra tree or two to each lot. Whereas if they come in at that 10,000 square foot, they only have to put in one tree, and we can't legislate what the architecture is. We can't say you can't have a metal building. We can't say you can't put all siding. But in a planned development, as Mike said, that's where we can sit down and negotiate with them. And that's where it's sort of a give and take on both parties' part.
Well, y'all feel free to call me if y'all have questions about agenda item or Aaron. I mean, if there's something that's going to be questionable, we can arrange to have the people here to answer those questions. I mean, obviously, I can't bring attorneys down here every night. The bean counters would have a fit when they start paying that. But for certain things, if we need certain people here, if we need them on the phone, if we need a written opinion, we can get all that stuff. And we're happy to do that if you just reach out if you've got a question or concern. Just let me know. I don't mind coming to these meetings to help if I need to. Aaron does a good job of gathering stuff up. So if there's some certain things that we need to help you guys, if you'll give us a call, we'll make sure that it's here.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
And I'm going to run, I appreciate what you guys do, and y'all make your decisions. I don't want to influence anybody because you'll be coming to us later. So thank y'all for what you do.
Thanks, Joe. Anything else? Any other questions from Mike or anything on that? Okay. All right. And we will move on to action letter E and open a public hearing at 6:42. A public hearing on a request to rezone a 0.593 acre of land known as Lot 1, Block 1, East Hills Edition in the J.H. Cooper Survey Abstract Number 145, County of Johnson, Texas, located at 402 Conveyor Drive, to change from C1 Restricted Commercial District to the R2 Family Residential District to allow for the construction of a duplex after the property is subdivided. Okay, and staff presentation.
The property was originally platted as lot 1, East Hills Edition. The future land use map shows this area as a low-density residential area. The property currently has a house facing Conveyor Drive. Subdivision of this lot will require the existing house to meet all setbacks, including the rear yard setback. This property is zoned as C1 Restricted Commercial. The proposed development of this property is to allow for the property to be subdivided for the construction of the duplex. This development will be required to submit engineering construction plans and will also be required to replat. We have agreed that these matters may be part of the construction planning review process. This proposed request complies with the future land use plan.
Thank you. Owner's presentation. Is there an owner here present? Okay. And was there anybody here to speak on this tonight? That we know? Okay. All right, and then we will close the public hearing at 6:44. We'll bring it back so we can discuss this. My question is, they want to make this into 2 lots? So is this looking to do 2 duplexes?
So,
Did I read that correctly?
one lot, it's, where they're gonna subdivide is, it's gonna separate the house that's facing Conveyor.
Oh, I'm with you now. So they're gonna have a duplex on the back. Okay.
The backside.
Is it gonna be, will it be facing Conveyor or will it be facing
Honeybee.
Honeybee? Okay. Okay. And there's duplexes over there now, isn't it, around it?
So the original is gonna stay facing from there. Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion, considerations, any other questions regarding this? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Sears. All those in favor? Okay, everybody opposed? That's seven. Moving on to G, discuss, consider, and possible action on a replat regarding a .016 acre of land known as Lot 9. I guess south 28-foot, Lot 10, Block 5, original town of Joshua, and then WW Buyer Survey Abstract number 29, County of Johnson, Texas, located on the northeast corner of Main Street and East 12th Street, known as 100 North Main Street, located in the Heritage Preservation Overlay District for the development of a retail building.
The property was originally platted as the original town of Joshua, located within the Heritage Preservation Overlay District. And this property is developed, maybe it has a plan development preservation to meet the design requirements of that district. The plan development was approved by City Council on May 20th, 2021. This property is zoned PD, Plan Development District. The proposed development of this property is to allow for retail building with 4 spaces. Those buildings will be 5,090 square feet. Water and wastewater provided by Johnson County Special Utility District. A letter of final approval has been submitted. Driveway dedications have already been dedicated along all running streets. This plat appears to meet the minimum requirements for a replat as set forth in the City of Joshua subdivision ordinance. Therefore, we recommend approval.
You said the PD was already approved by the council. Yeah. Yeah. Any discussion or any questions regarding this action item? Okay, and I'll entertain a motion as well.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Sears,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gates. Okay, all those in favor? 7-0. All right. Moving right along. Discuss, consider, and possible action on a final plat approval of lots 24 through 49, block 8, lots 10 through 26, block 10, and lots 1 through 27, block 11, Cooper Valley, phase 5, being a 17.8290 acre tract of land situated in McKinney and Williams Survey, abstract number 636, City of Joshua, Johnson County, Texas, and locally known as 1001 Stadium Drive.
This property has been preliminary platted and platted in several phases with plan development being approved in 2008. This is the final phase of Cooper Valley subdivision. Property is on plan development. This development was granted a gas bill waiver from City Council on May 20th, 2021 to reduce the minimum setback to 500 feet from the existing well on the property to the east. This development will allow for the construction of 69 single-family homes along with a detention pond. Water and wastewater is provided by Johnson County Special Utility District. A letter of final approval has been submitted. Right-of-way dedication will be dedicated with this plat approval. This plat appears to meet the minimum requirements for a final plat as set forth in the City of Joshua subdivision ordinance and meets the approved plan development for the subdivision. We therefore recommend approval.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion?
That's your question. Is there been a TIA done on Stadium Drive over there that you're aware of?
Address the commission.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'm David Reeves with Grant Engineering, 3244 Hemphill in Fort Worth, and I represent the developer Dan Thomas. And Mr. Peacock asked if there's been a TI. We submitted, I'm trying to call, We did submit, oh, yes. Reason Nichols does have on hand traffic engineers.
Okay.
I was a little foggy on that, but yes, they do. And Steve at Reason Nichols will be able to do that, and I can give you a copy as well. I'll continue.
Go right.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm David Reeves, and thank you for letting me present this to you. I can't say much more than Mr. Maldonado has stated. We look forward to this. I've been working on Cooper Valley, and Mr. Peacock has seen this in various capacities with the city for well over 20 years. And I even got to name 2 of the streets after my daughters. So very proud of this project, and we look forward to your approval and any questions prior to that approval that you might have. Or denial, either way. I don't want to.
Does the current Cooper Valley all drain into the existing detention pond on the north side of stadium, or
Yeah.
of the stadium there?
Yes, it was designed back when we put in phase 3, which is Lighthouse Court. At that time, it was required by the city that we go ahead and develop or create that detention pond. So everything currently runs into that, and everything is designed, with the exception of a small portion near stadium that our drainage engineer has analyzed will go into the bar ditch on stadium and continue down to the ditch that receives the water from the detention pond. And analyzed and looked at and approved by Reason Nichols. So, yes, the bulk of it does go into that.
Any other discussion or any other questions?
I'll live out there. I can attest that the drainage is, I mean, there's drainage issues that's kind of self-imposed. I don't think it's the developer in a lot of cases. And stuff, people tend to, hey, put swimming pools in, stuff, change some landscaping, stuff that'll do that. But I think that drainage, that detention pond, I mean, I see very little use. I mean, it goes quick. And that thing doesn't hold. So when it's moving, it moves that water through fast. And our streets tend to stay, pretty, it moves out quick.
Oh, good. So it's a positive.
Yeah, no, it is. They've been well.
You're always curious when you design one. You always imagine it filling up, but I've tried to catch it before and run down here in a rainstorm. I've never
Yeah,
seen
no, it doesn't stay around.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. The detention pond and the public park, right there. How big is the public park going to be? Because it looks like it's in the middle of the detention pond.
It's basically, this was a, I want to say, creative way to do something, or we tried to get something, the sort of the give and take Mike was talking about. We, at the time, and the way that came up, my daughter happened to be playing soccer up in Fort Worth, and along Granbury Road, almost to Danziger Road, where the county courthouse is, there's a big detention pond and 2 soccer fields are in the bottom of it. And I thought, oh, well, maybe we could do something like that here. Now, this is not as well defined here, and it's not even big enough for 1 soccer field. But at the time, on paper at least, it looked like, what if we combined, the flat part of this, which would be dry most of the time, and just make sure nobody's in it during the storm. That was the purpose of that. It doesn't quite look like we had envisioned.
I think it's more green space because up Waterford Way is where the more park
Yeah,
space
there's
is
a
actually
30
slated.
acre park on Waterford
Yeah.
Way we're actually fixing to start. There's some funding set aside for it.
And that's a design that, if anything, I mean, they can look at, the Parks Board can look into, a dog park type situation.
Well,
Is
that's
that-
actually not a bad idea.
'Cause there's-
Somebody asked about one the other day.
Yeah,
But
'cause
we're all gonna put a walking trail around it.
Right.
And do a few things over there. We were trying to get the Henderson Street issue, about that, Jerry, where there's some question over other access and all that stuff, but I think.
That's your fault. I'm not gonna leave that alone.
It's not mine, it's Merle's. But yeah, the intent is to put a walking trail around there, and the dog park issue is actually not bad.
Yeah, those aren't real expensive, but it's just the maintaining. and that's
The
it.
problem is water, a little dog drinking bowl is unbelievably expensive for you, I mean.
Oh, to run a tap.
Well, yeah, because, to set a tap for Jason,
But if you put it on the street side, on Henderson
there
side,
might be ways to soften the blow. They might be, Jason works with us very well. Maybe we'll name that.
y'all can run a tap just fine. Don't worry about it.
Borrow water from a neighbor,
Yeah.
There is a detention pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, just water from here. Water can actually take out the dog.
Moving on. Any other productive discussion?
I do have one more. On Stadium Drive, driving, so there's a bunch of trees in there. Will the trees stay on the line right there? Or they plan on just cutting them all down? Gonna be wooden fences that line that? How's that gonna look?
In our property, and actually, I don't have it with me, but probably 2 or 3 years ago, when Mike, you may have to remind me of the planner that you had prior to Nora. Karen asked for us to do a tree survey.
Yeah.
And so we identified there's actually one tree on our land in that area that's on our land that is designated to be preserved. The others either were not significant trees or are off of our property after the dedication. We've dedicated, I think, 30 feet from basically the center line of the road to our property line. Once dedicated, once this plat is signed, that's no longer owned by us. So the city can do whatever they wish.
Right, that right away there's been widened. That will help clear off that right away that we're gonna have to do. I don't know if it's gonna be stop signs or on stage. We'll have to do something. It comes out right in the hill. And we'll get the Steve. That's why I was curious about that.
We do propose a stop sign there at the.
Is that what he recommended?
Yeah, well, we just put a normal one, there. Coming out from Waterway.
Yeah, well, I'm talking.
Oh, we got that. Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking about
that, I'm not sure.
But we'll look at it. He's got it. We'll
Yeah,
take a
Steve
look
has
and see
it,
what-
and I don't think EIA suggested any sort of control device there, but you'll know.
I know that Cooper Valley right now has sidewalks throughout it. Will there be a sidewalk then added to Stadium?
Yeah, should I answer that? Yes, sir. There's going to be a sidewalk by the developer along Stadium, along our entire frontage on Stadium. There'll be a sidewalk within the property by the builders. So each builder will put in sidewalk. So thank you.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. If there's no discussions, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion we approve.
Motion by Moore. Second by Mr. Fraser. Okay. All those who approve? And all those who disagree? Excuse me, one, okay. Looks 6-1. All right. And we're moving on to discuss, consider, and possible action on a final plat approval of Lot 1, Block 1 of the American Jedi Edition, being a 6.634 acre tract of land situated in the H.G. Caton Survey, abstract number 156, City of Joshua, Johnson County, Texas, and generally located on the east side of North Broadway, State Highway 174, approximately 510 feet south of 4th Street. This development will be for a Domino's Pizza.
In 2016, this property in combination with the property to the south, existing storage buildings received an approved final plat. This plat was also known as American Jedi. After approval, it was determined that Johnson County Special Utility District didn't have adequate water, wastewater facilities to service the site. This is what prompted the city to require approval from those utility providers to approval of a plat. As such, the plat was never recorded. The property is zoned as C1 restricted commercial. The application is for the development of a retail building consisting of 3,834 square feet. The proposed use will be a Domino's Pizza with a pickup window and a retail office use for the remainder. The water and wastewater is provided by Johnson County Special Utility District. Letter of final approval has been submitted. Right-of-way dedications have already been dedicated along all 11 streets. This plat appears to meet the minimum requirements for a final plat as set forth in the city Joshua subdivision ordinance. Therefore, you recommend approval.
Thank you. Did they decide what they're gonna do with the other domino?
We have a rep with Domino's online. I don't know if it's.
Gotcha. I was just curious.
I haven't heard it.
Okay. Any questions?
I'm trying to get a little buffer speed here, but I don't see the layout of the actual building. Is it in here?
Site plan.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
Because it said multiple, it said, talk about multiple, how many other office spaces is there gonna be?
I thought I'd just do one other one.
It said, it said 30, it said other.
What's that?
Yes, yeah. So there's the Domino's Pizza, and then there's one retail space available. They do not have a tenant at this time.
Okay, thank you. Did they submit it like a site plan or what the building was gonna look
Yes.
like?
Yes, they did.
Was that with the preliminary plan?
That, this was the final plat. They didn't.
Didn't have.
So it's met all, parking and ease of access requirements and everything there.
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing that. Any other discussion or questions?
So the folks who own the Brookshires and all that, they own all this too? Are they the developers on this, do you know of? Well, my question is because when you pull in there, you're gonna be using the same entrance, right? For Brookshires, and you're gonna turn to the right into the development. Well, I've noticed going into,
No, this
that's not where it's at.
Different area.
Okay, then,
Yeah.
got you then.
This is up by 4th Street.
Okay,
Across from Dairy Queen.
okay, I know.
Anything else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move we approve.
Motion by Commissioner Moore, second by, that's what? All right, thank you. Okay. All right. All those in favor? Any opposed? 7-2. Very good. All right. Discuss, consider, and possible action on a final plat approval of lots 1 through 14 and A, block 1, lots 1 and 26 and A, block 2, lots 1 through 14 A, block 3 of Mockingbird Hills Edition, phase 1 being 15.323 acre tract of land situated in WW Buyer Survey, abstract number 29, city of Joshua, Johnson County, Texas, and better described as being located west of Santa Fe Drive between Cattle Road and FM 917.
The Plan development for this property was approved in December of 2018. This property has gone through the preliminary plat. We'll be platting the property in 2 phases. This property is zoned PD, Plan Development District. This plat consists of phase 1, or will contain 54 single-family residential lots and 3 open spaces. Water and wastewater is provided by Johnson County Special Utility District. Right-of-way dedication will be dedicated with plat approval. This plat appears to meet the minimum requirements for a final plat set forth in the city of Joshua subdivision ordinance. The approved plan development for this subdivision, therefore, we recommend approval.
Thank you. Everybody have a chance to review this final plat? Is there any questions or concerns anybody had regarding this plat?
The description said 3 open spaces, but I only see 1.
It may have been, the 3 maybe for both phases. You may have overlooked that. Which one? And you don't see the.
I see the one between the existing development and the proposed development. It says open space and drainage.
At the top says lot A, block 2, open space lot.
Okay.
There's another one. There's
Some of the open spaces too
1.
could be like towards the front area.
I do see it. Okay.
Yeah. It's just it's just kind of they kind of cheat it, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, it's
They're
frontage.
two the same.
The only concern, and I apologize, I'm just kind of part-time guy through this, but is, watching the rains that we've had, is that on the west side, the most southern portion there on 917, you've seen that drainage now as they've started that development, that detention pond, that thing is staying full and it stays there, which is concerning because all of that's going to end up further down faster. Is there any?
That's not finished either. They don't have the dam and the outlet put in that thing yet. It is full of water. I agree
Yeah,
with that.
it's staying. Yeah.
But that's part of the reason now, because there's no way out.
Okay, so that'll solve once they.
Once it's finished and it's allowed to get out, then it will catch it, slow it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's a big old deep pond.
I think actually we're going to take a look at the way detention ponds are done, and we're going to start, I think, requiring them to be way more substantially complete before the end of the process. Because we're seeing as things develop. We've seen it with Wildwood, we still see it, we see it in other areas where they get all this dirt turned up, they build the pond, but it just flows dirty water down everywhere and silt, and I think we have to put more focus on getting those things finished.
Finish it out, because
Very good idea.
that whole line on the whole, west side is probably a 10-foot wide run, and it's probably 20 foot now that it's all been.
Yeah,
it's run
they
out.
cause some problems, and we're kind of looking at how that's gonna lay out. We do need to, we're gonna start requiring them to sod the bottom of those things and not seed, and try to get those established much earlier in the process.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. Anything else? No? Nothing else, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move we approve.
Got a motion by Commissioner Moore,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Sears. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to action letter K. Discuss, consider, and possible action on a preliminary plat approval of lots 1 and 2, block 1, the Ward Plaza being an 18.491 acre tract of land situated in the G. Caslin Survey, abstract number 173, City of Joshua, Johnson County, Texas, located on South Broadway and north of County Road 904.
This property has never been platted and preliminary platting to sell a portion of the property. This property is located within the Joshua Station Overlay District. The property will be required to apply for a plan development district and a final plat of the property. This property is zoned C2 General Commercial District and I Industrial District. This development will be required to meet all requirements of the ordinance. Water and wastewater is provided by Johnson County Special Utility District. Letter of final approval has been submitted. I will make note, there is no wastewater out there, so it's just water. So we have been in talk with Johnson County Special Utility District, and so we'll be verifying whether or not the property owner has to pay to have sewer installed. We'll know that at a later date. Right-of-way dedications have already been dedicated along all Luddy streets. This preliminary plat appears to meet the minimum requirements for a preliminary plat as set forth in the City of Joshua subdivision ordinance. Therefore, we recommend approval.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, discussions on this?
Are they looking at changing any of the zoning or no?
Yes, that's after whatever they decide to do with it, they'll have to change to a PV and development.
Right.
Right now, he's just trying to sell off an acre, and in order to do so, he has to. Put in that.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, any other questions or comments? Okay, now I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve it.
Got a motion by Commissioner Sears, second by Commissioner Frazier. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. If nothing else, that is it. We will adjourn at